The 10 most dangerous bridges in the world. Just one look might make you lose control of your bladder. And the number one spot, it's practically the Grim Reaper itself. So do you dare to take the challenge? Top 10. The Trift Suspension Bridge. Perhaps you've been captivated by the breathtaking views of the Trift Glacier deep in the Swiss Alps. But before you reach your destination, you're going to face a spine-chilling challenge, walking across the Trift Suspension Bridge, one of the longest pedestrian suspension bridges in the Alps. Decades ago, people could simply walk across the Trift Glacier to reach the Alpine Club hut. But as temperatures warmed, the glacier shrank so much that it could no longer carry hikers across. To solve this problem, the Trift Suspension Bridge was built in 2004. This bridge stretches over 550 feet long and hangs more than 320 feet in the air, spanning right over Lake Triftsee. Combined with the surrounding glaciers and alpine lakes, it looks like a stunning, picture-perfect masterpiece. However, for tourists standing on the bridge, enjoying the scenery might be the last thing on their mind. Why? Because even on a completely windless day, you will feel yourself constantly swaying as if your entire body is rocking along with the bridge. The water below looks bottomless. The distant glaciers gleam with a haunting gray under the sun, and on both sides of the bridge, there's nothing but simple steel cables and wire mesh serving as handrails. Even though these railings are engineered to be perfectly solid, when you're walking at that altitude, the lack of visual protection heavily triggers your psychological fear. To make matters worse, the weather in the Alps is completely unpredictable. Severe weather like heavy rain, snow, and fierce winds can make crossing the bridge exponentially harder and more hazardous. Crossing on a windy day, the combination of a buckling deck and howling winds creates immense psychological pressure. It is a true test of courage. Every single step requires absolute caution, because if you slip, the consequences are unthinkable. Yet, it's exactly this kind of heart-pounding thrill that draws more and more adrenaline junkies to come and try it. Top 9. The Urbane Bridge. The Urbane Bridge stretches nearly 4,000 feet long and is built entirely of teak wood. Not a single iron nail was used, it relies completely on traditional mortise and tenon joints. While this structure showcases the incredible craftsmanship of ancient artisans, it also means the bridge's stability faces massive challenges, eroded over time by wind, rain, and waves. Certain parts of the bridge can become loose or damaged, making crossing it highly hazardous. Not only that, but the surrounding environment of the Urbane Bridge also poses a significant threat. Because the bridge spans across Tonkthamen Lake, the rising and falling tides and the size of the waves directly impact its safety. During the rainy season, the lake swells, heavily restricting the bridge's capacity. And on days with high winds and rough waves, the bridge rocks and jolts violently, causing extreme discomfort and danger to tourists. As one of Myanmar's most famous tourist attractions, the Urbane Bridge draws massive crowds. However, during holidays or peak tourist seasons, the number of people on the bridge often exceeds its actual weight capacity. This not only accelerates the structural damage, but also spikes the risk of tourists suffering a catastrophic accident. In fact, on the afternoon of October 29, 2023, a section of the eastern span suddenly collapsed, sending multiple tourists plunging into the water and leaving them injured. This incident serves as a stark reminder that while the Urbane Bridge is beautiful and majestic, it harbors dangers that no one can afford to ignore. Top 8. The Monkey Bridges. Hidden deep within the jungles of Vietnam lies a very unique type of bridge. These are definitely not the sturdy stone bridges or modern reinforced concrete structures you're used to. Instead, they look like narrow, primitive, and completely rickety scaffolding. To cross safely, you need the agility of a monkey, which is exactly how it got its name. The Monkey Bridges. Monkey bridges are typically made from bamboo or tree logs. The walkway is barely wide enough for one person, and the structure itself is curved and uneven. Walking on it, you have to be incredibly flexible. Your feet must grip the log tightly, while your hands constantly reach out to grab nearby bamboo poles or tree branches just to stay upright. Even though there might be a makeshift handrail on one side, as you walk across, you can still feel the bridge swaying in the wind and hear the roaring river beneath you. It is an absolutely terrifying experience. These monkey bridges are usually built over rushing rivers, streams, or even deep ravines. The currents here are incredibly swift, especially during the monsoon season when the waters rage and the bridges become utterly unstable. If you lose your footing and fall, the outcome is grim. The violent rapids and hidden rocks below spell disaster for anyone who falls in, and rescue operations are exceptionally difficult. For the locals who are used to them, crossing these bridges is just a part of daily life. But for tourists or newcomers, the danger is overwhelming. The narrow, minimalist design offers absolutely zero protection. One careless step is all it takes to plunge into the river. Furthermore, the bamboo or wood can easily become loose or rotten from prolonged exposure to the elements, making every single step a gamble. Top 7. The Kuswachaka Bridge. It might be hard to believe, but this bridge, hanging high above a canyon and stretching over 90 feet long, is woven entirely out of wild grass. Despite looking completely flimsy, this bridge can support not only human footsteps, but even heavy livestock crossing over without a hitch. The most amazing part, this seemingly fragile bridge has stood the test of time for over 500 years. It's called the Kuswachaka Bridge. The walkway is exceptionally narrow, measuring only about 4 feet wide. This requires anyone crossing to possess an extraordinary sense of balance and immense courage. The bridge spans across the raging Apur River. Below, the water roars and thrashes, turning even more violent during the rainy season. Suspended high above the gorge, looking down into a seemingly bottomless valley, any minor misstep could trigger a fatal accident. To make things worse, high winds and damp weather conditions can make the grass rope slippery and brittle, further escalating the difficulty and danger. Walking on the Kuswachaka Bridge, every step is accompanied by a violent swaying of the grass ropes, making you feel like you could drop at any second. You have to constantly adjust your center of gravity and keep a tight grip on the side ropes to maintain balance. For those unfamiliar with how the bridge behaves, this is undoubtedly a terrifying ordeal. Although the annual rebuilding of the bridge ensures it stays in good condition for the year, the inherent fragility of the grass ropes cannot be completely bypassed. In wet environments, the grass is prone to rotting and requires regular maintenance and replacement. Yet, even this meticulous care can never fully erase the deep-seated danger built into the bridge itself. Top 6. The Eshima Ohashi Bridge. When people talk about the charm of Shimane Prefecture in Japan, aside from the famous Izumo Taisha Shrine, there is another unforgettable landmark, the Eshima Ohashi Bridge, famously known as Japan's ultimate rigid frame bridge. This structure not only connects Matsu City in Shimane Prefecture with Sakaiminato City in Tottori Prefecture, but its unique silhouette has made it an iconic symbol of both regions. Looking at it from the Matsu City side, the bridge's steep incline looks like it pierces straight into the sky. Today, it's not just a hotspot for commercial shoots, but also draws over 1 million tourists every year, all eager to see Japan's steepest bridge with their own eyes. However, driving across the Eshima Ohashi Bridge is a nerve-wracking challenge for many drivers, especially for first-timers. Staring up at that steep grade can trigger instant anxiety and panic. Going uphill, drivers must maintain enough power to ensure the vehicle doesn't roll backward, and going downhill, they have to meticulously ride the brakes to keep inertia from driving the car out of control. This driving experience requires not just technical skill, but nerves of steel. Moreover, because the Eshima Ohashi Bridge spans across a massive lake, it is heavily affected by nature. Strong winds, rain, and snowy weather amplify the hazards significantly. During severe windstorms, the bridge may be temporarily closed to ensure the safety of vehicles and passengers. And when rain or snow hits, the slick surface can easily cause cars to slide and crash, requiring drivers to be on absolute high alert. Top 5. The Royal Gorge Bridge. The Royal Gorge Bridge is located in Colorado, spanning a massive canyon over 1,150 feet above the Arkansas River. It held the title of the highest bridge in the world for an incredible 72 years, until it was surpassed by China's Luguang Bridge in 2001. Built in 1929, the bridge stretches 1,260 feet long, is 18 feet wide, and sits roughly 950 feet above the floor of the Arkansas River Valley. The bridge wasn't originally designed for transit, but rather as a tourist attraction. Therefore, its structure was engineered for maximum visual impact to draw in visitors. The bridge deck is paved with 1,292 wooden planks. Walking across, you can feel the wood beneath your feet shifting slightly. The bridge features no safety netting, only a basic set of handrails. As pedestrians walk across, they can see straight down into the vast chasm and the rushing river below. The intense psychological pressure and visual overload make walking across the Royal Gorge Bridge a highly challenging white-knuckle experience. Furthermore, this region of Colorado is prone to high winds year-round. In heavy winds, the bridge sways noticeably, intensifying the sense of insecurity for anyone on it. And in the winter, especially during snowstorms, the wooden deck can become incredibly slick, making walking even more hazardous. For drivers, flawless technique is a must as they guide their vehicles across this high and steep stretch. And for walkers, every single step requires extreme caution to keep vertigo from causing a terrible accident. Top 4. The Vitim River Bridge. Located in a remote region of Siberia, Russia. The Vitim River Bridge is globally recognized as one of the most dangerous bridges on Earth. Spanning across the turbulent Vitim River, the bridge is over 1,800 feet long, yet its width is a shocking 6 feet. It is barely wide enough for a single car to creep across. Every single crossing feels like a high-stakes gamble with your life. The history of the Vitim River Bridge dates back to the railway era. It was originally built as a train bridge. However, over time, and with years of neglect, the tracks were removed, and the bridge's purpose shifted to serve cars instead. Yet, the bridge was never engineered for vehicular traffic, making its danger profile go off the charts. The deck is made of loose wooden planks, many of which are completely rotted out. When cars drive over them, they emit an incredibly unnerving, creaking sound. Even more alarming, there are absolutely no guardrails on either side. If a vehicle veers off the path, the drop is fatal. On top of that, the extreme Siberian climate throws even harsher challenges at the Vitim River Bridge. In the winter, temperatures regularly plummet below -40 degrees, coating the bridge in thick, treacherous ice. In the spring and summer, melting snow and frequent downpours keep the wood slick, making traction nearly impossible. During high winds, the bridge shakes and shudders violently, forcing drivers to move as if they are walking on thin ice. Every crossing is like walking a tightrope. For any driver, tackling the Vitim River Bridge is an extreme challenge. They must maintain absolute, unbroken focus and use flawless precision to slowly crawl along the narrow deck. A single wrong turn or sudden break could lead to catastrophic results. Because of this, many who face this bridge experience severe panic, and some even back out at the entrance, choosing to drive hours out of their way instead. Top 3. The Cloud-Striking Ferry Bridge, Yontian-do. You've probably read novels or seen movies where immortals ride the clouds and walk through the heavens. While that feels like something trapped in fantasy, it actually exists in the gorges of Zhangya. It is a mind-boggling glass bridge called Yontian-do. Originally known as the Zhangya Grand Canyon Glass Bridge, it spans 1,758 feet long, is 20 feet wide, and stands hundreds of feet above the canyon floor. The name Yontian-do signifies the merging of bridge and sky to ferry the people of the world across. This concept reflects the bridge's role as a medium connecting two cliffs and bridging humans with nature. It also perfectly describes the visual sensation tourists experience firsthand. With its unique transparent glass panels and suspension design, it became the world's first large open-space cable suspension bridge to use glass as a primary load. Bearing structure, however, it's these exact features that deliver an unparalleled thrill alongside a jaw-dropping visual experience. Imagine standing on a massive sheet of glass. Beneath your feet is a bottomless canyon. Around you are endless sheer cliffs. The transparent material makes you feel completely suspended in thin air, as if every step is taken right on top of the clouds. This sensation of floating causes many people to freeze in terror, unable to even take a single step. Yet, it's this exact rush that draws countless thrill-seekers to experience it. That said, the terrain of the Zhangya Grand Canyon is treacherous, and the weather is highly volatile. Under severe conditions, like high winds and heavy downpours, the bridge's swaying and vibrating intensifies, sending the difficulty and risk through the roof. Therefore, tourists need to check the weather forecast and mentally prepare themselves. Yet, even under those conditions, plenty of people still choose to push their limits and bravely step onto this glass bridge. Top 2. The Peak Walk Bridge. Deep in the Swiss Alps lies a heart-stopping engineering marvel, the Peak Walk Bridge. This suspension bridge is not only the world's only pedestrian bridge connecting two mountain peaks, but it is the ultimate test of pure grit and courage. The bridge sits at an altitude of over 9,800 feet, making every step feel like you're walking on top of the world. Stepping onto the Peak Walk Bridge, Tourists must first contend with thin air and freezing year-round temperatures. In this high-altitude environment, the human body can suffer from altitude sickness, bringing on symptoms like headaches, dizziness, and shortness of breath. This discomfort undeniably makes the walk much harder and more dangerous. When winter hits, temperatures plummet, and raging winds upgrade the challenge significantly. The freezing climate doesn't just make walking difficult, it can trigger physical distress and severe danger. Aside from the climate, the Peak Walk Bridge itself is full of perilous unknowns. Weather in high alpine regions changes in the blink of an eye. Fierce winds and blizzards can strike out of nowhere, threatening the bridge's stability. Even normal, everyday winds can cause the bridge to sway gently, forcing tourists to face an unsettling instability and fear. Keep in mind, the bridge is 350 feet long, and the deck is a mere 2.6 feet wide, designed strictly for single-file traffic. This cramped space requires tourists to maintain a flawless sense of balance, especially when the wind picks up. For those with a fear of heights, the void directly beneath the bridge is a living nightmare. Certain sections offer completely unobstructed views of the abyss below, a visual shock that heavily intensifies psychological panic. Top 1. The Hussaini Hanging Bridge. In Pakistan, there is a bridge that is incredibly long, completely dilapidated, and built out of loose, trembling wooden planks. The footboards are so old they are practically falling apart, yet for most locals, it is the only route available to reach Rawalpindi. This is the Hussaini Hanging Bridge. Back in 1978, the Karakoram Highway was completed and opened to traffic. However, transit within the region remained just as brutal as it was a century ago. Locals relied mainly on cable crossings and primitive stream bridges throughout the mountains of northern Pakistan. One of those was the Hussaini Hanging Bridge. The body of the Hussaini Bridge consists of sparsely placed wooden planks and ropes, looking incredibly primitive. It stretches roughly 650 feet long, but the width accommodates only one person at a time. The gaps between the planks at the bottom are massive, and some of the wood is completely rotten or missing entirely. This forces you to move with absolute precision, treating every step like a tactical maneuver. Stepping onto the Hussaini Bridge, the first things that hit your vision are those widely spaced planks and the swaying ropes. Whenever the wind blows, the bridge rocks violently, as if it's ready to hurl you into the abyss at any moment. The massive gaps between the boards are terrifying. Every single step feels like a direct gamble with death. Severe weather only amplifies the danger. The weather here is highly unpredictable, and the wind speeds can be extreme. When storms roll in, the bridge thrashes even harder, looking like it could snap at any second. In this hostile environment, moving forward becomes a grueling task, where every step is shrouded in peril. Beyond the danger of the deck, the sheer height is an overwhelming challenge. The raging river and jagged rocks below are enough to make anyone shudder. One slight slip, and you're gone. This terror of heights leaves many people completely paralyzed with fear as they cross, with every cell in their body shaking. And that wraps up our video for today. Out of the 10 most dangerous bridges we looked at, which one left the biggest impression on you? Let us know in the comments below.